Good evening, everybody. How you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I am Sean Butler. Bugsy Malone is just there, doing the things she loves to. I do apologise for not getting any content out, essentially, since after the game against Luton. I've been in bed. I've cracked my neck horribly, and I haven't been able to move. I barely even made it out of bed to watch the game last night. Didn't do any post-match content, didn't do a post-match fan show, didn't do any of that stuff like I intended to because it was just too much pain. So this is my first opportunity to get it up. Pause. But really, I want to kind of just spend a couple of seconds discussing the overreaction. And I feel like it's a wild overreaction to the game. I feel like everyone's thrown the kind of baby out with the bathwater. To me, yeah, it was a frustrating second half of dominant possession, dominance in control, tempo, but not a lot of kind of end product, a lot of huff and puff. But some of the reactions I've seen, you know, I was just sort of shell-shocked by. I was like, wow, was I watching a different game? And maybe I was because, as I say, I was in a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort. And so I wasn't particularly enjoying the whole experience. But I really didn't think Tottenham played that badly. And look, West Ham United are not a bad team at all. They've got wonderful players at the top end of their pitch. They've got wonderful set-piece specialists. Kudus and Bowen are a match for anybody and could get into most teams' squads in Europe. You've got James Ward-Prowse, who's one of the best set-piece takers in the game. And they caused the relevant threat that I would expect a team like West Ham to do. Plus, it's West Ham away against Tottenham. It's their FA Cup final. Tottenham have only won there once in the last 6 years, I think. I think it was Jose Mourinho's first game or first West Ham derby that he won. But apart from that, we very rarely do very well at West Ham. So, kind of much like the way I thought everyone was expecting us to walk all over Luton more easily than we did, I also kind of feel like the reaction that Tottenham should be just walking all over West Ham at the Olympic Stadium. I said Upton Park, sorry. I meant the Olympic Stadium. I also think is overblown. You know, I think that there were so many positives to reflect on that I didn't really hear, and I haven't seen too many people really giving the time of the day to, because they're more focused on the negative outcomes. And of late, I've been criticised for missing the wood for the trees, zooming in too much and forgetting to reflect on where we are and what we're doing and, you know, how far we've come and all that stuff. But on this particular one, this is not my attempt to try to see the more positives that aren't there. I genuinely thought that we went to West Ham, and if it wasn't for some killer instinct that was lacking, we would have absolutely smashed them. We deserved the victory. The 1-1 draw, the outcome was probably fair on the day. They had some chances as well. We didn't really create enough. But in terms of, you know, going to a place like West Ham and keeping the ball for 70% of possession and kind of working it left and right, I thought it was a really good effort. I just think that at times we had a couple of players that just struggled to get into the right position at the right moment to be involved in, you know, in the right spot to finish the ball. You know, and little moments of frustration at the end where you have that last sort of frantic minute and Kulusevski, you know, gives the ball away loosely, or Sonny struggled many times to make the right decision or get into the right place. You know, there's a few areas of the game that were frustrating, but overall, far more positives that, again, like I say, have slipped under the radar a little bit. I thought Bissouma had a really good game. I thought, and we needed to see a good game from him. We haven't really seen one for a while, and we saw one. It was interesting that we didn't play Sarr, that Sarr got dropped through no fault of his own. I think Postecoglou just wants to, you know, I think he's trying to tinker a little bit with that midfield three. It's where we do have options. And, you know, generally speaking, I thought that, you know, the two of them, Bissouma and Bentancur, worked pretty well together. Maddison came off for for a weird situation. I think some of the substitutions could have been done better timing with the substitutions and better choices with the substitutions. And I do hear some people that were saying, we should have had Sonny on the left and Richalison at the top, because Richalison would have just sort of sat there and been in the right position, you hope. But at the same time, I don't know why people are. I understand people who are frustrated with Sonny's performance, saying, he's a fantastic player, but he's not the 9 that can sit and back to goal, hold the ball up and do those things like Richalison can. But all of that stuff doesn't necessarily mean that Richarlison's going to be in the right position at the right time to finish the job at the end of the move. We've seen plenty of examples over the last 18 months to suggest that sometimes he can be there, sometimes he can't be there. But look, it is what it is. A point away at the Olympic Stadium, for me, I thought was a really good result. And I think that we're frustrated because we deserve to win. We were better than them in all departments over the night. We only struggled once again from set pieces. We obviously have to figure out a way to defend our set pieces better. Corner kicks are a massive problem. James Ward-Prowse, the first time he put it in the danger zone, we struggled and we conceded a goal. The next 5 or 6 times they tried to do it, he overhit it or underhit it a little bit. And so the only reason we kind of got away with it for the rest of the game without having more trouble than we did in that first moment was not because of our defending being better, but because of the set piece taker not quite putting it on the sixpence. So that's definitely an area that we have to figure out. We 100% have to figure it out. We're still leaving Vicario, unchecked. He needs to strengthen up in that regard. But his shot stopping is fantastic. I thought Udogie was brilliant getting forward. Like I say, I thought Bissouma was brilliant. Van De Ven had absolutely no problems at all getting back. And, I think it's one of his tougher tests with Kudus driving at the ball down that side. And Antonio, I thought, I haven't seen Antonio play that well as a target man against the speed of Van De Ven. I thought he did very well, and kudos to West Ham as well. I thought that they enacted and affected and executed their game plan to a very high level, which is what you expect from a David Moyes team. He's one of the longest serving managers in the Premier League for a reason. The guy knows how to organise a team. The guy knows how to set up against a team that he thinks is a better footballing team than the one that he manages. And he did that very well when they came to Tottenham. He did that very well last night. Tottenham should have got better, should have done more from it. But, I think I want to look at the positives of Brennan Johnson. This guy, for me, is growing, and he's growing on me. My fondness for him is getting better every day. I think he's clearly listening and learning and taking the advice or the strategic direction that Ange Postecoglou is asking of him. He's getting at the ball, he's driving, he's got a wonderful low cross. Like, he puts that on in that corridor of uncertainty so many times. And when the ball's on the other side and Timo Werner is doing the same job, the difference between the two is Brennan Johnson is getting to the far post for the tap-in, which is exactly what is asked of him in the kind of FIFA settings of Ange ball football. That's what you need. Timo Werner did really well. And by the way, this is the first time I've spoken to you guys since my Luton fan cam. A load of you guys called me out in the comments saying that I was entirely wrong about basically everything you said on my opinion on the game. Which is fine. I disagree. I think my general take on the game was right. But where I do think I got it wrong is when I said I think Timo Werner had a bad game, I was reflecting mainly on the first half when he missed the sitter and then he didn't get back and track back for the goal against Luton. Second half, he was much better, but I'd also had a lot of beers. So, sometimes you forget meaningful moments and contributions and you're putting out a video in the heat of the moment. You have to go back and watch the game. I have gone back and watched the game, the Luton game, and I'll give Timo a better score than I initially gave him in that review. I really like Timo Werner as an outfit. A lot of people are saying, like, do we sign him? Do we not sign him? To me, it comes down to, like, we need wingers. We need a winger. We need a striker. For me, whether you keep Richarlison, whether you put Sonny out on the wing and put Richarlison on, you need a striker in any event. I think you need a striker to come in this summer, a really decent top-level striker. I also think you need a really decent top-level winger, if not two. But the question mark around Timo Werner, should you sign him or not, for me, it's more around, you have to get rid of someone. Now, are you going to get rid of, if you're going to sell Bryan Hill, right, then you probably get 15 million quid for him. You're not going to get much more than that, which is the money that you would have to pay for Timo. So would you rather keep Hill and lose Timo, or keep Timo and lose Hill? Because either way, if you can get £15 million for Bryan Hill, then you're net, you're basically zero on the cash balance in difference. And so it comes down to, who do you think's better to have that as that utility player? Now, for me, Timo all day over Bryan Hill. And as much as I hate to say it, because I really do like Bryan Hill, I wanted it to work out for him, but it's not going to work out for him, is it? He's injured a lot. He's lightweight. He's never really had a great run in the team, and I feel for him massively. And I always wanted it to work. I always had a soft spot for him. But for me, I'm starting to see more from Timo in the games now, where he's got the ability to drive at players. Like that thing that he did in the first half, for the first goal, was brilliant. The brilliant drag, the flick back, drag and push, and then hit it across the side. If he needs to get on the other end, he needs to work on his finishing. But in terms of his contributions going forward, he needs to do more. After that, against West Ham, after that first sort of 10 minutes, he was a bit irrelevant. But Tottenham didn't use him. And I hear a lot of people make excuses for Sonny's poor performances at times, saying, well, no one finds Sonny. It's about the people behind him. It's about Maddison. It's about Bissouma. It's about whoever Sarr or Bentancur or Hojbjerg, or whoever the third eight is. It's the reason why the reason why Sonny's had a bad game is because he got no service. Well, at times, if that's true for him, it's true for everybody, right? You could make that same excuse for Timo. It didn't feel like, to me, like he was involved at all second half yesterday, but I'm not entirely sure he was offered the ball too often. Could be wrong. Once again, I was in pain. I was watching it in bed like this. But I just wanted to get some thoughts out there. I really don't think I've got, like I say, I'm trying to get the point across. Everyone's kind of going, wow, this is crazy. We're not good enough to beat West Ham. We don't often beat West Ham away. We haven't for a long time. Once in 5 years, 6 years, I think it is. It's their cup final. They're a very good team, very well organised team. And a lot of teams go there and struggle. We didn't struggle at all last night in any way other than just getting that kind of final piece of the puzzle, that final kind of thing. And what frustrates me about Tottenham, and I think it can be solved fairly simply, is taking more pot shots from deep when you're trying to do this perfect pass. You're trying to do this kind of horseshoe football, I call it, where we just move it to the left, then move it round to the right, move it to the left again. Horseshoe football, always looking for that insightful pass. And at moments, we were doing brilliantly trickery, one-touch triangles into the box, but no one wanted to have a shot. And, that's a problem. You got to have a shot when you're in the box, and sometimes as well, when it's that rainy and wet and soaking wet and slippery, and even if you're just on the edge of the box, have a bang. You don't know what's going to happen. It could glance off someone's thigh. It could smash someone in the chest and bounce down. It could hit someone's arm. It could just do a bit of pinball stuff. And also, even if nothing great comes from it, it at least gives the defenders something more to think about, that they can't just step off you too much because you might have a crack. And at the moment, Tottenham's variety of what we're doing with the ball, when we're in that kind of area of the pitch and the other team have set in a bank of 5 and a 4 and it's entirely congested, I just don't think we're creative enough and sometimes throw caution to the wind enough to have just some pot shots from distance. Pape Sarr had a couple of goes, but you know what? He's probably the most likely candidate to do it, but he's the least... He's probably the least or last person I would want to do it. I don't think he's got a strong enough shot on him. But, a Lo Celso, when he came on, I thought he looked busy. I thought, he can do that sort of thing. Maddison, not really sure. I thought he had a good game last night. I thought it was one of his better games. I thought it was probably his best game for a long time. But he's still not quite at his very best. This is the thing about James Maddison. We spoke about it, right? It takes a long time for him to get back to his best. But I think he's kind of getting there. And like I say, guys, if we'd got that last goal in the last second, if Destiny Udogie, when the ball broke to him in the last 5 seconds of the game, if he'd put it to the left of Fabianski and we win that game 2-1, everyone's delirious and everyone's delighted and there's no problem. But because it finished 1-1, I feel like the fan base has kind of thrown the baby out with the bathwater a little bit. And I just wanted to, because I've been unwell, just wanted to kind of quickly get my thoughts up tonight and say, I don't share that kind of sense, that personal take. I thought, you know, it's not a bad game, not a bad result, and certainly wasn't a bad performance. And, you know, to me, on another night, we could have had two or three more goals. It's just about tweaking a couple of little bits of decision making at the top end of the pitch, adding a little bit more spark and skill in the summer, and I think we're going to be absolutely fine. But let me know your thoughts, because I could be wrong. Also, the Tottenham Hotspur accounts were out today, but like I say, I haven't had a chance to look through them. Once I've done them and done my due diligence and things, then anything that stands out that's wildly surprising or questionable or exciting, I will bring to your attention over the next couple of days. But there's no rush on that stuff. It's all a fait accompli. What is interesting, though, for what it's worth, is this morning was the first day. So the 9 months had to pass. You have 9 months after the end of the season, well, under the end of the financial year, which was June the 30th, to publish your account. So Tottenham were late to publish them, or publish them on maybe publish them on the Friday, but because of the Easter weekend, this is the first chance to have them out. Chelsea still, I believe, haven't published theirs yet, and they're overdue, and that's interesting. What are they trying to hide? What in God's green earth is happening over at Chelsea? We'll find out soon enough. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Am I right to be a little bit less despondent than some? Or maybe you just didn't agree with my analysis of the game, but I thought it was a pretty decent performance. And I thought West Ham just defended very, very well. Sometimes you have to tip your hat to the defence and say a well-organised, well-orchestrated outfit that frustrated us on a slippery night. But a draw's a draw. We move on. Forest next. Come on, you Spurs. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, bye-bye.